Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Into the Forex Market with Citizen FX. And in this video, I'm going to talk about six financial instruments, which is the dollar index, Euro USD, NZD, Canadian dollar, the pound CHF, AUD JPY, and CAD CHF. And so let's enjoy the ride. Okay, so our first instrument that we will look at is the dollar index, which of course we have on our screen. So as we do it every day, let's go to the weekly to see the general overlook. All right, so this is what we have on the weekly. On the weekly, we can see the dollar in a very bearish run on the weekly, and we can as well draw our zones from the weekly time frame. Okay, so on the weekly, this how the market has been broken down. We can see the current direction, which is the bearish run from this region. We started from March 2020 to this current point. So let's scale down to the daily and see how price action is, unfolding, so we can make informed decision. Okay, on the daily, we can see this strong bearish run from this point, which we said it earlier, from this point to that point. That's notwithstanding, we can see this immediate lower high being violated, and price is currently forming a low, a higher high, higher low, and a higher high. So price on the daily, price is on the verge of forming a potential higher low. But that notwithstanding, let's again go to the H4 and see how price action is still unfolding. Okay, so on the H4, this is what we have. On the daily, let me draw our zone that was broken with our rectangle. Yes. And so this is our daily zone that will give us an idea that price want to go down. If they break it, retest it, we'll get much more signal that price is trying to go much more lower. Right, but until then, price is currently making a low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. On H4, this is how we see the market on the H4. We can as well draw the bullish run that we saw on the daily as such, and we can see price making a retracement over here. Yes, first of all, we saw this retracement, the retracement that sort of broke the structure on the H4, which is this. Let me draw. We saw the low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We saw another higher high, higher low, higher high, and this higher low, and this higher low was violated, and we are now seeing price stalling over here. So to be in the best position to see what happened, let's draw let's draw something to box up this range we have over here, which is that's no, let me use a trend line or a zone. Yes. And so before we take any action on the dollar index, we want to see a breakout from this particular zone, whether we see something like this, or we see something like this. So if this scenario plays out, this is where we'll be looking for entry around this region. And if we see that swift break over here, we'll wait for a pullback and take entry around this region, guys. All right, let's go to our next instruments on the table, which is the USD, the Euro USD. Okay, so the Euro USD is a direct opposite of the dollar index. But then because I like to analyze each instrument on its own for price to tell me what is actually doing, let's take it from the weekly as well and break it down to the H4. Okay, on the weekly, this is what we see. First of all, we draw our zones. Yes, so this is what we have on our weekly. You could see that bearish run, bullish impulsive move, and we see this bearish corrective move, and we are as well seeing the current bullish run from this point to that point. So let's go to the next lower time frame to see price action playing out quite clear. Okay, so we can identify this bullish run which started somewhere much as well, just as we saw the one on the Dixie, and price is making a low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and we don't know whether price is on the verge of making another higher low or price is about to violate this region and continue on falling. But then let's draw our trend line and see how price is playing out. Okay, all right. And let's draw our zones with our rectangle. Go to the H4 time frame and see what is happening. So over here on the H4, we can as well see price making a high, higher low, high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and we didn't really come for this and broke the structure over here, but then they shifted back into this zone again, making a high with this strong impulsive move, and correcting, making a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower high. lower low. So we don't know whether price is on the verge of making another lower high that will come and smash this. We don't yet know that. Yes, so we'll see whether price will actually come. Wait and see whether price will violate these lower lows. Lower highs, guys, pardon me. These lower highs, or break the structure here on the lower time frame and drop them all. Right, so all we can do is to wait for price to tell us the direction, whether they are going to break this place or they're going to break out of this pullback and continue on the downwards move over here. Right, so this is what we have on the Euro USD. Let me show how what I'm expecting here is either wait for something like this, or we wait for something like that. Yeah. Okay, so next instruments on our dial is the NZD Canadian dollar. And as we did for our previous two instruments, let's go straight to the weekly. Okay, so on the weekly, this is what we have. We're not really seeing much of flow. Well, let's draw our zone first. Yeah. So this is what we have on our weekly. We can see price currently making a low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And we saw that corrective structure, the reversal corrective structure over here, and we saw this swift move. Let's go to the daily and see what is happening. Okay, on the daily, this is what we can see. This measure zone being taken out. Let me draw more trend lines. This measure zone being taken out, and we saw that swift move over here. And so come next week, we are likely to go more downside on this particular instrument. And so we are just going to draw our counter trend line as such, which we've seen price violated, and look for entry on our lower time frame for more downside movement on this bit. Well, let's quickly go to the fourth instrument that we have here. So just as we do it, let's go straight to the weekly. and do the same thing over and over, guys. So you see, if you understand the markets, the thing is just happening over and over again. Nothing serious about the market. Not, it's just doing the same thing over and over again. You understand? And all that you have to do is to just understand the wave at which market flow and the fractal nature of the markets. And with that, you'll be able to minimize your loss and increase your win rates in this industry. Nothing, nothing over here is complicated, just as I've done, within some few minutes on this instrument that we've looked at. Yeah, so we've been able to draw our zones because price moved from a zone to another zone, and we can see the flow of the market on the weekly. But then because we want to see the bigger picture, that's why we are here. We'll scale down to the lower time frame and see what price is doing. But then one thing we also realize is that price hasn't been able to take out this particular recent lower high. Price visited it, and we are seeing signs of bearishness. That notwithstanding, we cannot base our analysis on just this one candle and say price is not coming down. And so let's go to the lower time frame and see what price is doing. So the next lower time frame is the daily. Okay, on the daily, we can as well identify the bullish flow from this point where price started making a low, higher high, higher low, sort of market sort of range in between these zones. Yes, yes. But then we saw that break, retest, and more move upside down. And so this remains our major zone, our major higher lows over here, which we expect price to break, retest, and rejoin the flow to the downside. That notwithstanding, we are currently seeing a retest of this major zone, and we can't base our decision on that. We have to either wait for a corrective phase of the market before we join the more cells. This was the very first lower low, higher low, which was violated swiftly. So come next week, I will be expecting much of a corrective phase and a more drop based on what I'm seeing on the daily. But then let's go to the H4 and see what is happening for our. Okay, on the 4 hour, this is it. Just as I said, we saw that impulse move, and we are now waiting for the corrective phase of the market or the pullback. And when the pullback is over, we'll join the market straight downwards. I said whenever market is trending in a bullish fashion, we look for entries at the lower highs. I mean, the higher lows. Whenever we are in a bullish market, we look for entry around this region. We are not interested in taking the tips over here or taking the tips over there. We want to take entries around this region and entries whenever we are in a downtrend. All right, so that is it for the pound Swiss franc. So let's go to the next instrument. Okay, yes, so this will be our fifth instrument. Yeah, our fifth instrument. So just as we do it, let's go to the weekly, our weekly, and let's draw our zones to get quite a very clear picture of it. Mhm. Okay, so let's go to Okay, on the weekly we saw price breaking this lower high and forming a low, higher high, higher low, and price is just drifting up. So let's go to the daily to see price action quite played out clearly on it. Oh, okay, so we are still in that bullish mood, and our most recent higher low hasn't been violated yet. Yes, yet. So we are chilling, but then this pretty seem like that reversal corrective structure that I spoke about in my previous videos. But then let's go to the H4 and see what's happening. Yeah. Okay, so this is the dollar yen. Though we've not broken this low, but it's quite likely market is gonna, after breaking out of this, there is a high probability price might, come to this level probably at 881,900. But let's wait whether we will correct more before we drop. But now price has made a high, lower, low, lower high, and maybe we don't know that yet. But let's draw our trend line as such and see what will happen. It is very likely price is going to drop from that region to the downside. But then until we break here and retest it, that's when we'll be comfortable. I will be comfortable taking more sales on this particular pair. Thank you. Let me see whether that's the. Oh no. This then is our last pair that we'll look at and we'll call it a day. On the weekly, just quite similar to one of the instruments we just looked at. Very similar. Very similar to one of the instruments we looked at. Yes, this one. Okay. So let's continue to do what we do. And guys, this is how I do it. This is how I do the top-down analysis. I'm giving you, because I don't really talk about entry on my videos, because understanding of the market makes every form of entry works. Just that I don't subscribe to sniper entries and all those entry that people want to take and show off on social media. No, I don't subscribe to that. And so I am chilling and taking my entries, which is no secret, but then I can put it out there. If you join my mentorship group, you are gonna get the way I take my entries, and it's pretty much simple. And the very few people that are in my group are loving it. So if you want to know more about that, the price is currently $100, and there is more into it. Just that I prefer to do the analysis from the higher time frame entry, from the higher time frame to the H4 time frame, because that's where a lot of people are lacking. A lot of people don't really know how to break the market down from the monthly, weekly to the H4. And this same thing I'm doing is the same thing that we'll do on our lower time frame, but then just a little bit nugget that I give out on my private page. I mean my premium package, which if you subscribe, you're gonna get it. So this is it. We can see the flow being bearish. Let's go to the weekly, I mean the daily. Oh, sure. The daily, this is what we have. We saw that sort of sideways movement of the market from this point to that point, and we saw that break over here. So let's indicate it. with our rectangle. Yeah, yeah, that was it. Let me think this will be fair. Yeah, this will be fair. And the breaks outside and the pull back some more. Yeah. So guys, this is what we have on the daily. But then on the daily, we are still expecting that break of this measures. This not quite a clear break, but then it's very likely they're gonna correct, give a corrective phase or pull back like this and drop down the more, guys. So come to coming into next week or going into next week, H4. Let's look at how it's, yeah, going into next week. I'm expecting, yeah, a corrective phase or a pullback and a strong move to the downside. Yes, yes, yes. So, guys, this is what I have for you with the first edition of the Inside the Forex Market series. Meet you next week, and I'll bring to you another 6 instruments, and we will do the same thing. And I'll urge anybody watching this video to continue to do this, to break the market down into pieces as such, so that the person will be able to take informed decision based on his entry he has learned wherever he was taught. Guys, thank you very much. And it's still Citizen FX. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like to keep me going. Best wishes in the week ahead. Thank you. Boom, 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 boom.